on. It's the start to the weekend.
Yeah.
Just getting things started here. Melissa, this is a long weekend for me. I had the day off of work today. I'm assuming you had to work because I didn't hear you mention that you had it off.
No, I worked as normal.
Ah, man. So I apparently the university I work for is getting it off for Juneteenth, which is tomorrow.
Nice.
And I believe I don't know if it's completely passed yet, but I think we're working on getting it a national holiday. So I don't know how far along that is, but happy Juneteenth to everyone out there. Happy Father's Day weekend. It's the same weekend as that, so it's a busy weekend. Busy weekend indeed. But let's have some fun. Melissa, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I had a fine week. I was looking back on my week, and I don't know if it's a content-filled week, but it was good.
So, sometimes that's totally fine, you know? Just like you have to have things where it's just like it was just a normal week. We didn't do anything.
Yeah, I just cared for my flowers. I bought a new bra. You don't want to hear about that.
Oh, man. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to number 148 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson.
True.
Yeah, Melissa, I'm taking a vacation soon.
Thrilling.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I tried to do this last year, and then the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't work, and it's a big deal for me because I never really take vacations for myself, but also here at the podcast, I've basically been on like almost everything that we've done here except for 2 episodes, 3 of them maybe. There was like 1 or 2 that I had you test out and see if your computer could handle it.
But you were still there in the background chiming in like a producer. Yeah, there's only been 1 episode I've ever recorded where you weren't here at all. We had to do, Jack and I did the Rise of Skywalker Reactor Core, Kyle-less.
Yeah, without me. And then Gino did an interview, a one-on-one thing with Crossplay. Again, I was there as the producer. But I'm excited because this is like, there's going to be 3 weeks coming up mid-July into the start of August that I won't be here and I won't be doing the shows. And so I let you guys know today before I announced it here on the podcast. But yeah, I don't know what the plan is yet exactly, but we're gonna figure something out so that hopefully all of the shows are still continuing, despite me not being here. But they might be audio only. We don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm super excited.
You're gonna. I just double checked the calendar. You're gonna miss out on me yelling at you in person about the Olympics opening ceremony. But lucky you, you'll be back in time to hear me yell at you about the Olympics closing ceremony.
Yeah, you can do a full Olympics wrap up. You're like, Kyle, you missed it. You missed the Olympics. They happened without you.
You were not consulted at all. I'm happy you're going to be taking this vacation. It's a deep, rich, like 3-week vacation.
Yeah, well, it's 2 weeks, but it just so happens that it's like I'm also taking those weekends too. So yeah, it's like it's those weekends.
3 weekends inclusive.
Aren't there? Yeah. So I'm going to visit my girlfriend. So that's going to be exciting. And yeah, like I'm nervous and excited and like, this is a big step. Like I feel like I can finally take this and things won't completely stop. And stuff like that. So that's neat. That's exciting. We will fill you guys in with more details as to what exactly the plan is.
Yeah, we'll have to plan that out, because we did try some dry runs of me running everything that you do, or at least everything you did at this time last year, and I barely got it. Like I could, like, you would tell me something and I'd click it, and the second after I clicked that button, the knowledge went out of my head.
Yeah, and it's like it's not even that you're capable of all of that stuff. It was just like you have your laptop, your computer that's not as like big and beefy as my whole setup that I have here to run the whole thing. So it's like, well, it's you can make a podcast if it's audio only.
Yeah,
like, that's fine.
Exactly. Like, I've got a podcasting level laptop. I don't have a streaming level laptop.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we will figure that all out in the coming weeks. But yeah, that's like the big update for me right now.
Nice.
I'm finally getting to take a vacation. Vacation, all I ever wanted. Vacation, time to get away.
Whenever you hear that song, do you still also think of that Rugrats Vacation special where they go to Vegas?
I don't think I saw the Vacation special one. I saw the like Rugrats movies where they go to like Paris and they do the thing where like they're in the Reptar mobile and stuff like that.
This was before that. It was I'm sure it aired on TV, but I don't remember watching it on TV. I remember getting it from a VHS tape at Blockbuster. Yeah, like all the families got together and took a trip to Vegas, and the kids are like, they go out on escapades in the middle of like a big casino that had a boat in it. Like, it might have been a Viking themed casino hotel.
Maybe
and they play that song in there.
Maybe I did, because I watched a lot of Rugrats growing up, but I don't necessarily remember specific stuff, except for like how Tommy pronounces responsibilities.
Sponsitilities.
Responsibilities, yeah. Sponsitilities. Yeah, my week was pretty good. It was a slower week at work, but so we've been doing the new thing where we are breaking for housekeeping, and we have like a short video that plays on the actual like podcast version. I re-recorded that because I was not satisfied, because I tried to do it so like you guys can see my microphone right now on stream, and I tried to do it so the microphone was just off camera, and it was enough of a like it's far enough away that the like what I normally do to make it sound good didn't work. And so I was like, okay, I can try this thing and EQ it that way and do this, and it didn't sound all that good. And I was like, well, I think we should just go ahead and at least start with this one, and then I'll eventually re-record it. So I did that.
Yeah, your microphone's not a secret. It's a publicly visible microphone, and it's a microphone to be proud of.
Yeah, Elgato Wave 3. It's a good one. I like it. I like it a lot.
And you're wearing a plain white tee today, and it really makes the black microphone positioned in front of you pop. It's a high contrast visual.
You remember that song? Yup, in my white tee. Yup. No? Okay. Well,
maybe.
I guess
like
I'm the
when
only
you say
one.
it, I believe that it was a song.
Who did that song? Let me look it up.
I can't confirm it, but that sure seems plausible.
Here, I think it was just called White Tea Song, or like White Tea Song. Who did this? Dem Franchise Boys. That's
wow, what a name!
Dem Franchise Boys.
I hope they bought a franchise with the money that they made off of that song. Or maybe they produced that song with the money made from a franchise. Like they all owned a Jack in the Box together or something.
Yeah. Something. Who knows? Let's see here. If I can... I don't know if I have our internet thing set up to the right size. I don't. Uh-oh. Let's see here. Move this guy over there. That way.
Move the guy.
Yeah, move that guy and then do the theater mode. I'm not playing the actual song because we'll probably get dinged with that. But this was back in the day when like tall tees were a big deal. Man, it was kind of wild. That's not centered. Why is that not centered in green? That's strange. I don't like that. Oh well. But yeah, they were just like, yup, in my white tee. Yup, in my white tee. Something, 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 something in my white tee. So there you go. I'm in my white tee.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's see here. What do we got on the docket for this week? Melissa, the one thing that I will mention about E3 is that they announced a Guardians of the Galaxy game.
I did see this.
Yeah, this was a big surprise. I know you're a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I know you probably won't play this game since you don't have any of the systems and stuff like that.
Why would I?
Maybe after it's been out for a little while, you can at least watch a playthrough or something and be like, I just want to see more Guardians.
Yeah,
stuff like that. So you're playing as Peter Quill, and it looks like when you're fighting, you have buttons where you can do stuff, but you also have special moves where you can be like, hey, Rocket, go shoot him from this side, or like you have buttons to be like, hey, you do like a specific attack. So you can be like, Gamora, go over there. Rocket, go over there. Groot, go over there. And you can do all sorts of stuff with that. And it looks like you have like special power up moves where you play like a song, and it goes into like a music video like thing that they do in there. But this was one of the biggest surprises of E3 because this was the first that it was announced, and it's coming out, I think, in like I forget the date exactly, but it's like this fall.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like, they're making you can get like if they announce it now, I would expect them to be like, it's gonna be out at like winter 2022 at the earliest, like
right, and like the
maybe
movie 3 doesn't come out for another 2 years. I thought they'd probably release it like closer coming up to that, like Guardians, your friends, remember them?
Yeah, well, if they can release it this fall and then support the game, it's a single player, like no multiplayer, no loot boxes, all of that stuff. So it's only a story. But if they can have like 2 expansions of DLC or something to kind of prolong the game and a little bit, like you'll be done with that game,
crackling.
and then well, you're only playing as Star-Lord, but
I'd love to be all of them.
Yeah, that was it was a big surprise. I love that they're making it. The gameplay looked a little off. It just didn't seem like it was entirely there, or was a little bit slow or something. I'm not sure. And then the dialogue was kind of dry. Like I was expecting the thing to be funnier, and it was just not funny or anything like that, which is like I guess they're basing them more off of the comics, and they did get one of the writers from the comics who has written them a lot to help write the story of this. So I'm expecting it to be good, but it was just like, ooh, what they showed was not selling me all that well. But still, I'm excited.
Nice.
So, there you go.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll get punched up.
That I wanted to mention from E3.
I'm happy the news is out there. I love Guardians content, even if it's not the film versions, who I love so dearly. Never interacted with Guardians in any other format. It's the films only.
I've heard decent things about the cartoon. I haven't heard much, but I've heard like, yeah, it's good. It's fine, But yeah, I haven't checked it out myself. So there you go. Melissa.
Yeah.
You have a couple questions written down here about movies and restaurants and all sorts of stuff. What do you want to start with?
So I wanted to do a cinema corner and tell you that last week I watched the romantic comedy movie Wimbledon.
This is all about tennis.
It is all about tennis. Paul Bettany plays tennis. I remembered that much about the film and nothing else. But I was watching one of those behind the scenes features on Disney Plus. It's called like Assembled or whatever, about the making of the MCU shows. I was watching the one on WandaVision, and Paul Bettany talks about how he met Jon Favreau doing that movie. That's how he was cast as Jarvis. And then it popped up as like a movie I could watch in Stars. I'm like, I'll watch this historic film.
Now, what does that say about his acting? Man, this guy, he's just so robotic. Like, what if we cast him as a robot?
Which is what Paul Bettany was saying, yes, that he was cast to be boring. No, but it's Paul Bettany. He goes to Wimbledon. He plays tennis. It's like, plot-wise, pretty simple. You expect it. Kirsten Dunst is this like young tennis upstart. They have a fling together. It's cute, whatever. There's a subplot about a comet, which I was not expecting to see at all. Where there's
what is going on
it just cuts to the news every once in a while.
Please tell me that there's a scene where he hits the comet with the tennis racket.
Oh, if only. No.
Wait, come on. That would have been great. Jon Favreau, what were you doing? What are you thinking?
I'll tell you that he didn't direct it. He's just in it. He plays Paul Bettany's agent. It was directed by, I don't know, a guy somewhere.
If I was Paul Bettany's agent, that would be the entire movie. We need to get you there to hit this thing as it lands.
Well, that is how the movie ends. The movie ends with it zooms out from Paul Bettany and Kirsten Dunst in New York City on Earth, and it zooms out and out from Earth until you see Earth in space, and then a tennis racket hits it. That's the end of the film, really? But it's not Paul Bettany doing that. Yeah, that's how the movie ends. It ends like Men in Black.
What is going on in this movie?
Right, so there's a comet. We just see news broadcasts every once in a while saying there's a comet expected to fly over London soon.
This movie.
And it just keeps, like, you see it like 3 times. Like, guys, watch out for the comet coming soon. And like when the comet passes over them, they just make a romantic wish. And that's the end of the comet storyline. but also, so Paul Bettany goes to play tennis. And there's a ball boy there, like a young man there to hand you balls and things. A ball boy, it's self-explanatory.
A man with balls, yeah.
A sports equipment, the young person, a sports equipment youth is there to help him, and he's like, "Happy to see you, sir." And then he's like, in the next match he plays, and he's like, "Are you the same kid?" And the kid's like, "Yeah, I loved watching you play yesterday." And so this kid's shown up twice. The kid is a fan of his. The kid helps him by handing him equipment. And I'm convinced the kid is a ghost or an angel or some sort of tennis muse. Because it's just these little bits of Paul Bettany talking to him. The kid never talks to anybody else. So at this point, I'm like, I have no proof that kid is corporeal. If this movie is a comet, it might as well also have an angel.
Wow, this is weird.
But then we get to the final match where Paul Bettany could win all of Wimbledon. He could win Wimbledon it. And and the boy's there, and like he gets like flustered and he drops his racket, and the boy hands him his racket and he says, "Oh, thank you. I'll be needing that." And the crowd laughs. And I'm still not taking this as proof that the boy exists, because I think, well, what if he just dropped it and picked it back up himself and still made that quip? And then everybody would laugh like, look at the funny tennis man.
Yeah.
But then the opponent, who's a real jerk, as many opponents in sports movies are, he hits the kid with a ball. He hits the kid with a ball so fast, Kyle. The ball's going like 144 miles an hour, and the kid gets socked right in the cheek with it.
Man.
And he's fine. He's got a big bruise there, but he has no other injuries, which surprised me for that speed of ball, but I guess a tennis ball's soft.
Is that how the racket hits the comet out in space? He like gets hit with the thing and like tosses it up and it like goes into space? No.
No, like the Earth is a tennis ball and it gets hit by a big cosmic racket like a celestial would wield. It's not a man-sized racket.
Okay.
But yeah, so the kid gets socked with a ball and then everybody turns around. Everybody's fretting about the kid. You know, there's medical attention for the kid and Paul Bettany is like, oh, I was on my last wind earlier. I was so tired. I didn't think I could win Wimbledon. But now that you've hit the boy, I'm going to defeat you. I'm going to tennis so hard right back at you. And he does. He wins ultimately. Spoiler alert. If you want to know who won Wimbledon in the film Wimbledon from like the year 2005. But I spent like 90 minutes convinced that's not a real boy. And the movie, almost like it's trying to spite me, is like, you think that's not a real boy? Once you
this.
Exactly. Let the boy come to physical harm and have everybody gather around so that we can prove to you.
Wow.
No, it's a real boy. You think just an actual boy couldn't be that magically inspiring without being literally magic? No, believe in the power of boy.
Interesting. Okay.
So it's a kind of a weird movie, but I was expecting it to be weirder.
Yeah. Well, to me, I wouldn't expect it to be that strange. But now that you've told me all the weird things that happens in there, why didn't they just go for it and like make it weirder? Like, yeah.
He's got a tennis guardian angel who makes sure that he's good at tennis. Like angels in the outfield, but instead it's for tennis and with a grown-up Paul Bettany.
Tennis or angels on the asphalt? As
they play on a green.
Angels in the outfield.
Oh, they play. I think it's just called a court. It's a tennis court. It's made out of like part grass, part not grass.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't even know what you call it.
I've never touched one. I've never touched a real tennis court besides like the ones they have at your high school that are just made out of asphalt. I've always wanted to play tennis.
Yeah. I've been on the ones that are the like it's not asphalt, but it is more like that like hard rubbery thing that's usually like
springy.
Green and like a not a red, like a coral red and like a Kelly green kind of thing is usually what they look like. I've been on those ones too.
God, I want to do that. I want to play tennis. I want to play racquetball because you're just in like a weird sweaty glass box. Like it's not appealing, but I think I've seen like so many well-to-do grown-ups in movies doing it that I need to do it now. I want to play racquetball.
It was like if you were like a kid from the 70s or 80s, it was like a rite of passage. You had to play racquetball. And then for us like 90s kids, like we grew up with tons of movies that had that in there, but we barely ever did that. Like I saw my parents do it a couple times, but like by time I got to be of the age where it's like, I want to start going to the gym and doing all that stuff, like racquetball wasn't a thing anymore. Like they like
let's bring it back.
Bring back racquetball.
Right.
Make a racket set for racquetball.
Just set up like a racquetball bar. People will play it. I mean, just serve like light cocktails so you don't get totally blasted and then like smash the glass. You're covered in glass there in your sweat box. But you could do it.
Good stuff. Okay. Weird movies. So you have written down here movies that are weirder than you think, but still not weird enough.
Right, like this. Like, is there a movie where they do something odd and then you start thinking it's going to get odder than that, but no, only the first odd thing was the only odd thing that ever happened?
By that definition, the ones that I wrote down don't necessarily fit.
Oh.
But I have 4 movies written down that I thought, like, these are weird movies. But they're not like so strange that they're like how did this get made, or
they're
like what
rubber.
were they thinking? Yeah, right. They're not that where it's like, this is just absurd that I love it. Like they're just that yeah, just like something is off with this movie. I don't know exactly what it is, or there's yeah. So the first 2 I have written down are probably going to be movies that most people haven't heard of. I found these movies back when I used to make beats and stuff like that. I was like, I'm going to go look for some like really, really old movies in the public domain that are supposed to be pretty good that I can use to sample and put in these beats here. And one I found was called A Bucket of Blood. And
I know that name.
I think there's a song by the same name, or Buckets of Blood, but this is, I believe, a Roger Corman movie.
Yeah.
I had never heard of this, but it's about this guy who's like a busboy at like a beatnik jazz club, and he's in love with one of the waitresses that work there, and he wants to impress her with the art that he makes when he's at home, because he has this this job to support him and the art that he makes. And so he makes this statue of her, and it's a totally perfectly fine statue that's just like, wow, you made that. But in the process of him making this, he accidentally kills his neighbor's cat. And he is just like, oh shit, now what do I do? So he's like, I'm gonna turn it into a statue. And so he covers it in plaster and makes this like cat statue for his neighbor. And everyone loves this statue. They're just enamored with it. Like, wow, it's so real. It's so lifelike. How did you make this? It's amazing. It's perfect. And he's so like caught off guard with this that everyone liked this thing that is right. Well, there's no artistic interpretation. Like, it is the cat just covered in plaster, and they don't know that he's like, huh, maybe I should make more statues like this. And then he starts killing people and making statues of them by covering them in plaster. And it's just this thing of like, this is just a weird movie. Like, why would you make this? But it was good, and I liked it. Like, it was just like, it was an artsy film, and it was really old. It was from like the 50s or 60s. But yeah, I was just like, this really is old. Strange. Yeah, but it's not strange enough, right? It's like like you said, it's not rubber.
Right. Like, you don't find out at the end that his parents were statues.
Yeah, or that he like these statues are then like the people in the statues are then being sent to like an alternate dimension where like there's nothing like that. It's just like he kills people and makes statues out of them.
So I need a story of just a young human person growing up, and their parents are just statues.
That's like that's like that Twilight Zone.
Like, that's my dad.
That's like that Twilight Zone with all the mannequins. Have you seen that one?
I'm sure I have. Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what happens in that one, so I'm probably gonna screw this up. But I remember it kind of being about these people who work in a department store. And the twist is that they aren't actually people. These are the mannequins. And it is like a Toy Story situation, which hadn't been made at the time. But like, is like, yeah, they only are there like when no one, like these are the night shift people who like make things like make sure things are stocked and all of that stuff. But it's the like they end up like just being mannequins, I think, or something like that. Interesting indeed. The next one I have written down.
I just want to say I love when a seemingly real human is actually a thing
something
that isn't
else.
alive. Yeah. I love like that guy was a robot the whole time. Love it.
Yeah, indeed. This person was a ghost the whole time.
No, but a ghost was a person. I like when a person is made out of something where a person wasn't there before.
Or the now newly famous 2006 movie Wimbledon, where a ghost was in fact a human the entire time.
Right? Only person who thought he was a ghost was me.
So the next one I have written down, again, is a really old one called The Egyptian. Have you heard of this at all? No, I don't think so. No.
It's just an incredibly common set of words.
Generic name.
Yeah.
This is about a physician in Egypt who, by a chance encounter, ends up working for the pharaoh. Like he was like, "Hey, I want you to be my."
This is old Egypt.
Oh yeah, real old.
You didn't specify. I thought this could have been like 1959 Egypt.
It's an old movie about like ancient Egypt, like biblical times. And he gets noticed by the pharaoh, and the pharaoh wants him to work for him. So he has this big rise in fame and fortune, and then it all stumbles, it all crashes, and he has to go into exile and stuff like that. But as he is like having his downfall, he starts getting more and more into this monotheistic religion, which they don't say it's Christianity, but it's Christianity. And yeah, he starts like getting more and more into that and starts to become this like Moses like figure to them and all of that stuff. And it's in the same vein as like the old like 10 Commandments movie and stuff like that. It's one of those things of like, why aren't they calling it Christianity? Like they have some other word for it, but it's just like, you really didn't need to go out of your way to not say Christianity. It was strange. And like it is just this big long journey of like the rise and fall of this one character, and then how this religion ends up like infiltrating the country and stuff like that. So yeah, it is this big thing of like, oh, now he's like a big religious figure to these people. That's strange. Like, what is going on here in this? But yeah, strange one. But again, oddly good. Like it's like these ones aren't necessarily filmed well, or the scripts aren't great, but it's just like, I oddly enjoyed this. Like this was an interesting movie to watch. So there you go. Those are the first, like, the two old ones that I don't think people will know. Yeah.
Coming this summer.
Here's a more recent one. I'm thinking of Ending Things. This was a Netflix movie.
Kyle, come on.
Seen this?
Like that movie's like, I have not seen it, but I've heard bits about it. That seems like it's full on weird, not just like it got a little kooky and I thought it was going to go extremely kooky, but it didn't. It sounds like
here's my argument. Yes, to a lot of people, it will be like, that was, what the fuck did I just watch? And it is a thing where the weirdness isn't outright mentioned. Like, weird things are happening, and they're not explicitly talking about it. And it's just like you see these things, and like turn of events happen, and they are like, this is strange. What is going on? I'm lost. This is a mind fuck. Like this is like an art film, like an artsy fartsy art school like movie film. I loved it. I thought it was wonderful.
We get it. You have an art degree.
I went to art school. I'm guilty as charged. Hi, I'm Kyle. I have an art degree. I have watched 13 art films in the past month. But like it's one of those things that, yeah, weird things are happening, but no one is talking about it. Why is no one talking about the weird things that are happening?
Give me
one.
What
is going on?
Tell me one of them.
The basic plot is it's this girl and this guy going to eat to meet the guy's parents. They're in a relationship and stuff like that, and weird things start happening at the house. They have a door to the basement that they keep locked, and it's like, you can't go down there and stuff like that. And then like the parents are, it seems like they don't know what year it is, and the conversation like keeps shifting to like, do they think he's a kid still? Like do like stuff like that, or like, wait, is his girlfriend even real? What's going on here? Like, but yeah, it's never explicitly mentioned. And then the end of the movie, I guess minor spoilers, but I don't know if this really spoils
it. Is the things it's an ended or not? Film.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like there's a dance number that happens at the end of this.
Oh my god!
Between like the janitor and of like the school that he used to go to, but it's this big like metaphorical and like the guy ends up being like naked, and it's just like, what is going on? This is weird, but no one is talking about it.
That's fine. That's fine. I love a sudden aggressive dance number in the middle of a movie that's not supposed to have it.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful scene. It's a big metaphor for relationships and how they grow and all of that stuff. And it's yeah, it was just strange. Rachel is in the chat. Hi, Rachel. Thank you for stopping by. And comments about the movie, the parents aging got me. So yeah, that is one of the things. Like as they meet the parents also get older. Like in the scenes that you see them in, they'll like leave and they'll come back, and it's like, you're 20 years older. Like, what is going on here?
I love all these things, but this movie also sounds too sad.
It's sad. Yeah, I'll say that. It has a very melancholy and somber tone throughout the entire thing. I don't know if I can
deal with stuff like that.
It's at times scary. It's like, is this going to be a horror film? Like, I don't know what this is.
Scary. I'll take a lot of scary before I'll take a little sad.
But that's the thing. Yeah, like, it's sad, but it's scary, but it's an art film. So there's these like weird things that are going on. So you're sitting there like, I'm not scared. I'm not sad. I'm just like, what is going on? This is strange. So that's that one. That was a weird one. But but that, I guess, is my argument, is that like no one is talking about the actual weird things that are happening in this. So it's just like, go talk about this, be weirder.
That's the point of it. Like, they don't. Yeah. Well, like, it's from the guy who did Being John Malkovich, right? And like, they talk about how the floor of the building is only like 4 feet tall, Like they talk about why, but they don't talk about like how that was ever allowed to exist and why it continues to happen and why they haven't just shut down the whole heckin' floor.
Yeah.
Like I get it.
I don't know. So there's that one. And last but not least, I have written down.
You really came to town with this one about it. I just want to compliment you on being thoroughly prepared.
You're thoroughly prepared indeed. Last one I want to mention is Only God Forgives. This is one of the movies that I watched last year when I did my accidental Ryan Gosling movie marathon.
Yeah.
I loved this film. It was wonderful, but it was one of those weird movies where like there's long scenes of no one talking or no one saying things.
Mm-hmm.
And so it relies a lot on atmosphere and mood lighting. There's lots of neon and stuff like that. And it's a crime film. So I like neon lights and crime and all of that stuff. So, but yeah, it was just it was one of those like this is more on the edge of like it's an artsy film, but it like nowhere near as weird or strange as I'm thinking about ending things, but just the fact that's like no one's talking. Like they got Ryan Gosling to do this movie and he's barely talking.
Well, I guess he's known more for his face than his voice. If I heard his voice out of context,
yeah.
I don't know if I'd tell you that was him. If I heard him singing, maybe I could tell you that was him. But I don't know if I recognize his dialogue.
Yeah.
No. Have I told you about his goth album?
No.
Certainly this is
Ryan Gothling? We have Ryan Gothling?
Gothling! Yes, Ryan Gothling.
Oh my god, yes.
He made, it's him and some other guy, and they teamed up to form like a one-time only band named Dead Man's Bones, and they released an album called Dead Man's Bones, and featuring like the Silver Lake Conservatory of Music Children's Choir. And it's just like super spooky Halloween music, but like not in a it's not Monster Mash. It's just like eerie, ambient children's choir spook music. I love it. I listen to it a lot. It's in deep rotation every fall, and so much to where it keeps popping up through the rest of the year. I've probably listened to that album, a song from that album, like a couple times over the last month here in summer, because I just listen to it so much. It's like Spotify's like,
go ahead.
No, just like it's just deep in there. Spotify's like, well, you love this one album, the one album that this one band ever made. So it's weird and very singular. So we'll just keep giving you it over and over again.
Ryan Gothling probably gets his like $1 royalty check from Spotify and just like who is listening to this album?
Your girl.
Yeah. I didn't know that. That reminds me of.
I've talked about that before.
Not at all. You haven't mentioned that because I had no idea. It reminds me though of the fact that Christopher Lee, that's his name, right? Who in Lord of the Rings was in a metal band back in the day.
Yes.
Like I
big metal guy up until his death.
Yeah, I don't know if those are on Spotify or not.
Probably.
I haven't listened to those, but yeah, interesting. Huh. There you go. Weird movies. Do you have an extra one or two that you want to put on the list
you
there?
know what, Kyle? Speaking about art and crime, have you heard of a movie called The Burnt Orange Heresy?
No, I haven't.
This was a movie I'd never heard of. It came out like last year, I think. This might have been like an early 2020 release. I just found it on Stars. And I watched it because it stars Elizabeth Debicki, which is all I need to get me into a film. And it's about this art critic who just starts dating Elizabeth Debicki, and she comes along with him to spend the weekend at the manor house of this rich guy who's played by Mick Jagger. The whole movie's like this guy I don't know, Elizabeth Debicki, Mick Jagger, and Donald Sutherland. Like, it's a very small, insular movie, which I really dig sometimes. Like, they go to this like rich art collector's manor, and he's telling them that there's this old painter who lives in like a gardener's cottage or something on the edge of his property. And now this is a guy who was this like hot up and coming painter in like the 50s or 60s. And like there was so much buzz before his first gallery opening, but then the gallery burned down. So there was so his pieces just became legendary
right now.
Yeah, because people were talking about them, but then nobody could see them. They just burned. They burned. And then it like happened to him again. And then he just sort of turned his back on the art world, and now he just paints privately for himself. And so Mick Jagger's like, hey, art critic guy, like, I want you to write a piece about this guy. He barely talks to anybody, but like, I can set it up so that he can talk to you, write a profile on him, get his name back out there in the public again. We could do a show with some of his paintings, and that I could profit from then as this like gallery owner, and you could profit from like writing high profile, articles and books about this guy. And I won't tell you how it becomes a crime, but it does.
Interesting.
It ends in like a very Twilight Zone way that I was not expecting when the movie began.
So I Googled it, and the first thing that came up after like the name of the movie was ending explained, which is, like if that's the first thing that comes up, then there has to be a big like, what the frick happened with this thing here? So interesting.
Ending explained. What a potent phrase.
Right. No, I've never heard of that. That's interesting, though. I might have to check that one out. That it reminds me of the Great Pretender. There was that
exactly. That's one of the reasons why I watched it. It reminded me of that.
That scam about the guy who was a incredible painter, but did forgeries and
right. Kyle, we gotta find more art crimes to watch.
We'll have to do like art crime week where we just like here's a
just
bunch
all
of
forgeries. Just we'll watch the Thomas Crown affair. That's art crime.
There you go. I haven't seen that one.
It's art crime. That's all you need to know.
Indeed. Okay, before we get on to our next thing, we are going to take a quick break for housekeeping, and then we will be right back. We put a lot of hard work into the shows that we make, and yes, we make multiple different shows here at the Whatnauts, and we'd love it if you would check them all out. You can find out more information on our website at thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. When you type in the Whatnauts, all of our shows will pop up right there. Just don't forget to give us a nice rating and review if you like the shows. If you want to support what we do here at The Whatnauts, patreon.com/The Whatnauts is the best place to do that. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. You can get all kinds of exclusive content at the $3 tier. You can also get a shout out and thank you on all of our shows at the $5 tier. You can support us on Twitch by subscribing to our channel at twitch.tv/The Whatnauts, and we would love to have you all join us for our live streams and talk with us in the chat. And lastly, we have merch. If you want to grab yourself a shirt or a sweatshirt or a mug or something else, go to thewhatnauts.com/store to pick up some merch today. And we're back. What's up, everyone?
We've done it.
Shout out to our Patreon supporters at the $5 tier. So thank you, Sam, so much for supporting us. We appreciate it. We love you a lot. By the way, Sam. I saw you were playing the Talos Principle on
Sam was
on stream. Yeah. Let me know how you like that game, because I loved it when I played it. It's a favorite of mine, so I'm curious to know your thoughts on that. Let's see, shouting out things that we have been doing on the podcast here. Well, we kind of stumbled into a reactor core last week in which I tried the new BTS McDonald's meal. You guys can go watch that on the reactor core, as well as the captain's log last week, because that's when we decided to do it. I did really like that Cajun sauce. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
I like both of these sauces, but yeah, that Cajun one was just that was good. The right amount of spice. But you guys can go check that stuff out. E3 has been happening, so you guys should go check out Crossplay to go see all of the stuff about that. If everything goes according to plan, tomorrow Mick will be joining us to talk about the Xbox conference. Mick was one of the people that helped us launch Crossplay. He then stepped down to go do his own thing and stuff like that. So it'll be nice to have him back on the
homecoming.
To talk some more about video games this week. So be on the lookout for that. We do also have our most recent Patreon exclusive thing up there, which was Melissa and myself and Gino. You guys should go check that out. We had a lot of fun just chatting it up, doing what we do here on the Captain's Log. So
yeah,
it was good. Melissa, we need to fit this one in for Father's Day.
Okay. Right.
Who are your favorite fictional dads? This one I did not come as prepared for.
Right.
And it's this is a hard one, I feel like. To be like, oh yeah, these ones are my favorite. Absolutely. But I've mentioned on the show a number of times that I'm a big fan of the like lone wolf and cub trope slash genre.
Those are dads.
Those are dad, but they're like the whole idea behind that is like, this is a bad dad forced to be a good dad, or like someone who shouldn't be a dad or does not want to be one is now forced to be one. But they all like they end up being good dads. Just like, oh, you're actually a good dad. I like that.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, there is the Lone Wolf and Cub movies based off of the manga. Wu-Tang Clan sampled a bunch of those movies in a bunch of their songs and stuff like that. More recently was Logan with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Yeah, Mandalorian. That's a great example with that there. But I don't feel like that is necessarily really what I would think of when I'm just like, best fictional dads. Who are your favorite fictional dads?
Favorite dads? Oh, I don't know. Homer Simpson.
He's a good one.
Yondu.
Well, yes, Yondu is a great one. I will absolutely accept Yondu.
Greg
what's his
Universe?
Line? He's like, I'm not your father, but I am your daddy.
Right.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Such a hero.
Great.
I watched that Marvel sizzle reel again recently, the one where they're like, remember movies? You can go back to them soon. And like, I was so happy that like that's one of the clips that gets in there is Peter just looking lovingly up at Yondu
as he's floating away
his Mary
with the
Poppins
umbrella.
thing.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I did on Father's Day last year. I think I stopped by my parents' house and I was able to like see my dad very briefly. And then I went home and I'm like, I can watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for other dad energy. I have to do it again this year. I don't get to see my dad. He's going on a road trip.
Oh, man. There you go. Road trip.
He's
Yeah,
going
you also...
to...
Go ahead.
No, he's going to Arizona to see his brother, which is a fine thing to do. You can celebrate Father's Day with your own brother, remembering that dad you guys used to have.
I mean, how dare he go his brother when his children are the one that makes him a father, right? You know?
Children. He's bummed that like 2 years in a row we don't get a real Father's Day.
I did try to look up like best dads in movies, and the first list that I ended up like looking at, one of the ones they had in there was Darth Vader. I'm like, no, he's not a good dad. He's like a terrible father.
I mean, I think about Darth Vader every Father's Day. I think there's a difference between good dads,
father,
right, and good characters who happen to be dads.
Right. Yeah. Like, I mean, you mentioned Homer Simpson. Maybe not the best dad.
Questionable.
Sure. But a famous one, a likable one.
Comes through for his kids, buys Lisa that saxophone, jumps over Springfield Gorge for Bart, has got all those pictures of Maggie hung up in his office.
There you go. Man, I had one in my mind that I really wanted to mention, and when you mentioned Yondu, it completely just like no thoughts, only Yondu.
He'll take all the space. I also mentioned Greg Universe from Steven Universe.
That's a great
Greg's
one.
my dad's name, so I admire him a lot for that.
Man, what was I thinking of? This is gonna bug me, and it's gonna be like middle of the night. I'm just gonna be like, that one was him.
We've had some good dads on the review show so far this year. We had Rick Mitchell. Gordon Clark sure tries his best.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the dads in Dark are very good.
Not really. A favorite one of mine would be Clark Griswold. Again, not a good one, but
You're gonna say Clark Gregg. Like, yeah, Phil Coulson kind of is a dad to the team sometimes.
No, what was I gonna say? Yeah, this is really bothering me now because I had one that I was super excited about. I
have a question for you related to this.
Okay, go. I remembered. I don't remember his name, but Arnold Schwarzenegger in Jingle All the Way. Good dad.
Sure.
What was
Jamie's father, yes, the famous character.
Kid's name was Jamie. Jamie, I got you a Turbo Man doll.
Turbo Man knows my name?
My dad is Turbo Man. Goofy in a Goofy movie.
Oh my god,
great
classic.
One.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I love a father-son story.
That's a good one. Indeed. You were about to ask me something.
What pop culture dads remind you the most of your own dad?
Ooh. I don't know.
This is what I know about your dad.
I'm not sure.
One time he bought 200 knives.
Yeah. To be honest, you just mentioned his first name. I don't remember, but the dad from the Mitchells versus the Machines.
Rick Mitchell,
I think he would be, I think he'd be more along those lines. My dad was never an artist, so he didn't give up his dream of like building things and log cabins and all of that stuff to have me do all of that stuff. But I was the artist of the family. I was also the like soccer player of the family, and he wanted me to be more like, yeah, football and like basketball. And I was like, I want to go play
football,
this.
Kyle, had he ever seen you?
I mean, that's the thing. Like when I expressed, like when I wanted to do soccer, he was like, "Oh, the like that sport, okay."
What else are you supposed to do?
But then, like, yeah. Once I like seriously got into it, he's like, "Okay, like I respect soccer now. You know, like you get how difficult it can be and how much work, you know, there can go into it and all that stuff." But yeah, it was just the thing of like, I did all of the stuff that they were like, we want you to get a real job, we don't want you to have tattoos and piercings, we want you to like play a man's sport and like do all of that. And it was just like, I'm not like into any of that. So there you go, Rick Mitchell.
Rick Mitchell, I think, applies to many dads. Yeah, like I thought of him.
Also a big fan of Clark Griswold. I don't know if that would be a good comparison, but for sense of humor, sure, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. That would be my dad.
There's a little Rick Mitchell in my dad, just because I was trying to think of like a hardware dad, like a dad who, like a workshop dad. I guess Geppetto.
The first thing that came to mind was Tim Allen from Home Improvement.
Well, that's true. He is a workshop dad. I don't know, but my dad's, I mean, he has power tools, but he's like he's such a craftsman. He makes these beautiful wooden boxes and things. Like Tim the Toolman Taylor would not care about making just a delicate wooden puzzle box.
He wants to knock down a wall and like, yeah.
He's not a dad, but he's some sort of a familial adult man mentor. Mr. Dink from Doug.
Okay.
You know, Mr. Dink was always like, Doug, look at this thing I got. And then that's very much like my dad. Kids, I got something. Look.
See, I from the very, very little that I know of your dad, I don't have an example of like, he's like this, but you always mention that like he's watching something, like he's on the couch watching something, whether it's something you want to watch or not. Like he might be like, hey, let's watch this thing together, or like, I was gonna watch this, so that's what we're watching. So if they're like, if there is a fictional dad out there that is like that, that's what I picture.
Right. Like, yeah, like eclectic movie dad. Like,
sure.
He's got such a wide-ranging, interesting taste in movies. I was over at the house a couple weeks ago, and he's watching, I don't know, some old black and white war movie probably, but then that's over, and he puts on the mid-2000s romantic comedy, Whatever Happened to the Morgans. Or did you hear what happened to the Morgans? Where like it's Hugh Grant and Sarah Jessica Parker, and they're like a couple who's on the rocks. They might separate, but then they see a murder and they have to go into the witness protection program in Wyoming, nearby to where your parents live, right outside of Cody. And they like have to hide out on a ranch, and they learn to fall in love again. Dad put this on, has apparently seen it several times. Enjoys it very much.
That would be one of the things that I see, and I'm just like, what inspired you to put this one on after that? Like, what is the mental thought process? Like, how did we get here to this?
He follows his own whims.
That's fascinating.
He's a trailblazer. He just does whatever he wants.
Teach me your ways. What is this? What inspired you? So, there you go. Good dads. Happy Father's Day weekend.
Shout out to dads. Yeah, I don't get to see my dad this weekend. I mean, I guess I could stop by the house tomorrow before he leaves, but he's going to be busy packing and like cleaning his motorcycle or something. He's a bike dad.
Bike dad.
So I don't know. Yeah, so I'll go see my mom for Father's Day, I guess.
Hey mom, happy Father's Day.
Gone. Right, it's just Mother's Day too, because I saw her a little bit for Mother's Day, but it was like the day after I got my second shot, and I was like real tired, real out of it. So I don't know if dad leaves this Sunday and forfeits Father's Day, Mom gets Mother's Day too.
There you go. Melissa, you had another question about restaurants.
I did. Yeah, sure. I was just curious as we return to eating out places, if there are restaurants that you look forward to returning to, regardless of what the food is, that you're like, I just want to be in that place. I want to physically go into the restaurant and eat in there.
Melissa, I'll give you one guess. I'm kidding. Chili's. Let me go spend 4 hours in Chili's alone. I just want to sit there all day and do nothing.
God, you and your Mountain Dew and your chocolate lava crunch cake. A legendary order.
I'll be here all day, so just keep bringing them
coming.
Keep
the lava flowing.
Exactly. Keep the lava flowing. Yeah. No, I don't actually. I'm not super excited to go back to Chili's or stuff like that. But I'm probably going to one day end up doing something like that. I did go out and about today. I went back to my comic book store and I went and I got a smoothie, and then I went and sat down and read some comics and stuff, which was really, really nice. So it was last week, right, that we did our fantasy draft on the mall, or was that 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So I mentioned Rainforest Cafe. I haven't been to one of those in like perfect. 2 decades. Yeah. So I would love to go back to a Rainforest Cafe just to experience it.
Yes.
Like we mentioned on our draft, like, I don't remember the food being very good or anything like that, but just to see these like giant like crocodiles and like a monkey swinging by and a mist thing that comes down, like I just want to be in that. So that would be one.
I respect that a lot. There's I think I'm going to take a trip later this year to Mall of America, and Jack and I are going. We're definitely going to hit that Margaritaville 100%.
Nice.
There is a Rainforest Cafe there, and I was tempted to throw that in too, just because I want to be near animatronics.
I will live vicariously through you if you go to a Rainforest Cafe.
I've never been to one. I've been to the T-Rex Cafe, which is that but dinosaurs.
Yeah, which is also wonderful. I would love to go to that.
I want to find. I want to go to an existing Planet Hollywood. Hi, Sam.
Stream. Yeah. Sam,
I want to go to a Planet Hollywood.
Sam, I mentioned it when we gave you the shout out for the supporting us on Patreon, but how are you liking? Now I just blanked on the name, the game, the Talos.
The one you play.
Yeah. You know, the game. Because I really enjoy that game, and I saw that you were playing it recently here, so I'm curious to know your thoughts. But back to the restaurants in the meantime. Something else, you mentioned like a Planet Hollywood or stuff like that. I've been to like stuff like that. That'd be a fun thing to go just for the atmosphere. There was this restaurant down in Florida. I don't remember exactly where, but it was right on the beach somewhere. Trying to think but I don't remember. But we went there a handful of times, a lot more when I was younger, so I don't really remember it all that much. We went there once that I like truly remembered it. It was called the Mucky Duck. And the Mucky
Was this a rude restaurant?
It is kind of one of those rude ones. They aren't.
Okay.
It's not like Dick's, which I think is up in the Pacific Northwest, where like it's named Dick's because they're just dicks to you. Like that's the whole thing. But they do a lot of like puns and dad jokes and stuff like that, where it's like, hey, would you prefer to sit by a window? And if you say yes, then they'll sit you in the center of the restaurant, and then they have like a portable window on wheels that they'll just like set right next to
gag
you.
Restaurant. Oh my god. Yeah. I want it. I just want to be around like just dumb prop comedy, but also I get to eat.
And then they have the like diner style ketchup and mustard things in those like red and yellow like tubes with the cones, but they have like a string inside them of the same color. So they'll take them out and flip them around and stuff, and then squeeze them like right in your face, and you get hit with this string instead. But it looks like you're about to get hit by mustard or something. Or if you ask for coffee, they will come with a saucer and a coffee cup, and then they will loop the spoon through the handle of the coffee cup. But what they won't tell you is that the cup is empty. So when they're about to hand you the cup, they act like they trip and they spill it. But there's nothing in there, and the cup gets caught on the spoon, so it won't like actually fall off and hit you or stuff like that. But they're just like, oh my god, like, and then I'm like, your coffee will be up. And
I'm happy there's a slapstick restaurant somewhere.
Yeah,
we don't do insult comedy. We do slapstick over here. Wholesome. Three Stooges.
That's the thing, is like they don't overdo it with you. Like if you asked to be seated by a window and got something with ketchup and mustard and then asked for coffee, like you wouldn't get all of those things. But you might get one of them. You might not. You might see someone else getting them and stuff like that. So it was subtle, but it was like, oh, they got that guy over there, So that was good. That was fun. I would love to be in a restaurant like that, where they're not mean to you. They don't make you wear some like hat with like penises all over it or stuff like that.
What?
Right?
Where's that? I want to go there.
That's what they do at Dick's.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could be crowned the penis queen.
Melissa has some lofty goals there. Yeah.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. There's a restaurant in Disney's Hollywood Studios theme park called the 50s Primetime Diner that's set up to look like a cute 1950s like sort of kitchen dining room. Half the tables where you sit at have like a TV on them playing clips of old sitcoms, and it serves like real home style food. Like this is where you get like a meatloaf or something, like burgers and fries and milkshakes. And all the servers treat you like they're family, like they're your cousins or your aunts or uncles or something. And they'll kind of bug you, like, don't put your elbows on the table. Are you going to finish your peas?
Okay, interesting. Like, no,
they also
Mom,
have a restaurant.
Father's Day weekend, not Mother's Day.
If you misbehave, they make you sit in a corner.
Nice.
They also have a restaurant there called the Sci-Fi Dine-In, Sci-Fi Drive-In, where you sit in a car. Like your booth is a car, and you're in this darkened room, and you're all facing this like TV. Well, you're all facing a big screen. It's supposed to look like you're in your car at like an old 50s, 60s drive-in theater, and it plays like clips of old sci-fi B movies while you sit in a dimly lit car and eat a burger and milkshake.
So,
this is where I gotta get to.
Yeah, and then since we haven't gone to movie theaters in a while, since they're just starting to open back up, I would love to go to like an Alamo Draft House, right, and just watch a movie and eat there. Like the atmosphere there is so much fun. So
we're going to get one at some point. I think later this year, we're finally getting one. There
you go. Indeed.
As for me, I just want to say that I look forward to returning to pretty much any Mexican restaurant, because those always have the best decor of any genre of restaurant. There's one around here that looks like a little town. I love when they look like a little town where they've got like little storefronts painted on the wall.
Yeah.
They're always beautiful. Okay. I can get like my own chips and salsa, but I just want to sit down in like a shiny vinyl booth and have a bunch of chips and salsa placed in front of me for me to just gnaw at.
Good stuff.
I look forward to it a lot.
Yeah, I ones that are a little more touristy, like if you go down to the River Walk at the Alamo, they have like mariachi bands and stuff that will play and will serenade you. And sometimes, like, as touristy as that stuff is, it's kind of fun, right? To just be like, thanks for singing me a song, you know?
I love that nonsense. I want to go to a restaurant where everything's turned up to 10.
Yeah, there you go. Sam says the game is good. I think I am 2/3 of the way through Talos Principle. I entered Building C. And yes, send me the link to the clip in our Discord. I'd love to see all of that stuff. Yeah, that game is good. That game is great. I like it a lot. Yeah. Food time. It's about to be food time. I went to Tropical Smoothie today. That was it. They didn't have any inside seating. They were like, get your stuff and get out. Like they had a big plastic
this isn't a
thing
Chili's
up there. Yeah. They had that. And then I went into the Rite Aid that's like on the corner of campus near me. And holy moly, they redid the entire inside. It looks great inside there. Like they really classed the place up. I was impressed.
Congratulations,
this is Rite Aid. Whoa, like I want to be here at this Rite Aid.
I want to be here.
Screw Chili's. I'm spending 4 hours in a Rite Aid.
I've never been to one. They don't have them here.
It's just like a pharmacy Walgreens style that it's nothing to write home about, but this one was.
Oh good. Tell your parents.
Dear dad, happy Father's Day. Let me tell you about this new Rite Aid.
So while my dad's gone, I thought about drawing him a picture of him and me, like kid style, like with crayons. Maybe I'll glue macaroni to it. And on the inside of the garage door, because the garage is his workshop, he's got like stuff stuck up there with magnets. I just wanted to just stick up a picture there, and he won't see it until like next week when he gets back, and like not even point it out. He'll just eventually notice that it's there.
It might take him more than that week, right? He just doesn't realize that it's up there. Like
he might
2 months down the road, it's like, which one of you drew this?
Like I drew me, Dad. It's the one who looks like me.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's the child who doesn't have a beard. Me, I'm the one that's left.
The only one that's that doesn't have a beard. Okay. That's great. Good stuff. Okay. We have to end the show with this. Melissa, yeah. Did you hear this whole discourse about Batman?
Oh, I don't want to hear about any discourse. It never turns out good.
This was a delightful moment. So,
okay,
what happened? They're doing season 3 of this Harley Quinn cartoon on HBO Max. And apparently a scene was taken out of season 3 because it depicted Batman going down on Catwoman. And the funny thing is, this show is rated R. like it's not a kid's cartoon. They cuss and they do all sorts of stuff on this thing. There's all sorts of adult situations, but this scene was taken out, and the creators, I guess, were just like, why? Like, why do we? And it was someone at Warner Brothers, some exec, right, that was like, no, we need to take that out. And their reasoning behind it was heroes don't do that. And the internet just had a field day.
What heroes have you checked with? What heroes did you ask?
Exactly. But the internet just had a field day where everyone was like, are you kidding me? Of course he does. Why do you think there's no like part covering the mouth? That's what he does. Like all of that stuff. That's
the only thing he's capable of when he's fully in costume.
Right? Yeah. But like like Batman creators were out there being like, of course he does. Like people who've written the comic or people were making jokes and clipping out scenes from movies and the cartoons. When taken out of context, it seems like that's what they're talking about and stuff like that. It was great.
Always
it was delightful. Yeah. Like it was one of those moments where I was like, oh, Twitter is free. This is great.
Okay.
I don't have to pay for this website.
This is a fun discourse after all.
This is delightful. I love this. Yeah. It's I had a blast looking at all the memes and all the jokes and all that stuff. It was good.
Can't believe I don't know who set standard. Vision, because he doesn't have a tongue, probably.
But there has been they did the same thing to this, but there was a comic where you saw Batman's dick. You saw the outline of his dick.
I remember. I never saw it, but I heard everyone talk about it.
They took it out of all of the digital versions, so if you got a first printing of that book, you have
God,
dick.
Rare.
Yeah. Yeah, the rare elusive bat dick.
Wow.
And
find it in the wild.
But that was in their DC Black Label like comics imprint, which is their comics for adults. So there have been sexier stuff in those books and stuff like that. There has been sex in DC comics and stuff like that. There's all sorts of stuff that's just like, why now? In especially in the one that's rated R. Like there are things in your comics that are for teens, ages 8 to like 18, that are like, they're heavily implying some things here with all of this stuff that is just like, you probably should have taken those out first, but let him do what he wants.
Right. Why do this to both of them?
Yeah.
What a thing to do to Batman and Catwoman.
There's a bunch of comic book artists that have Patreons and stuff like that, and one of the things they often do on their Patreons is do a bunch of not safe for work art of these characters and stuff, and so like they were all just like, hey, by the way, we do lewd art of all of this stuff. We'll do Batman this next month. Like, let's go. Let's have fun. If you want all the not safe for work Batman stuff, we got it. Here you go. So it was just, it was a blast to see all of that stuff. So.
That seems like a good sense of community.
It was. It absolutely was. Yeah. So there you go. That is it, I believe, for this week. This is a good one. I had fun. Lots of stuff.
Yeah, it was nice to just talk about movies. Just tell each other about movies we watched.
Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities, where me and my brother Jams talk about weird old kids shows you feel like only you remember.
Indeed. If you guys want to find me, I'm at YoKyleSpringer on Twitter. If you guys want to stay up to date with all of the shows that we do here at the Whatnauts, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter, so go like, share, subscribe. You guys know the deal with all of that stuff. But that does it for number 148 of the Captain's Log. We will be back this next week. Bye.
Bye.